Oh goodness me, I don't know what these two are up to. Oh hello, what have we got down here? The Scarecrow's wedding. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at Whitchurch in Hampshire. It's about 12 miles north of Winchester and 8 miles to the east of Andover. And today we're going to be doing a 5-mile circular route from Whitchurch, heading east, basically following the track of the River Test, and then coming back. There'll be some beautiful views. I think we're going to see 3 pubs, 3 churches and 4 mills. We might see some rather dodgy characters along the way. So do join us. Well, I've parked my car at the Silk Mill car park, which is just to the south of the town, which is a free car park. So let's have a quick look at the Silk Mill itself. Very impressive building here. Well, the original building was constructed in the 1800s on the site of an old mill. Originally was a fulling mill for cloth weaving. It became a silk mill in 1817 and was still in production up to 1985. In December 2012 they recommenced silk production here. It's owned by the Hampshire Buildings Preservation Trust and leased to the Whitchurch Silk Mill Trust. And this marvellous building here, the clock at the top is called the Waterloo clock. It's 200 years old. And so it is open to the public for an admission, and there are tea rooms here, and it's open from about 10:30 onwards. And have a quick look at the stream that presumably comes off the River Test, and it goes through to the mill there. Wow, look at those fish down there. The water is so clear. I guess those must be trout, but they're enormous. They must be 2 foot, 3 foot long maybe. Absolutely teeming with them. And of course, the River Test, we're going to see a fair bit of this river at various parts of our walk today. Well, to start the walk, I'm initially going to head south and do a little loop. I want to show you another mill before we then head back into Whitchurch, have a look at the town, and then we'll head out into the countryside. So I've just walked down a very sweet little road or track called the Weir, and I've got some water meadows behind me, which you can see here. Actually, somebody's put up a picture or a photograph of what did it say? Picture from this, or from a book in 1909, King's Lodge, where King Charles stopped for Battle of Newbury. What's the date on that? 1643, I think it says. It says there's a picture of the church, and I says, yeah, I can just about see the church spire. Obviously the trees have grown a lot since that photograph was taken, and the King's Lodge to the side. We will be going and having a look at there very shortly. I love the little building on the right there, which is actually off the ground on straddle stones. Oh, goodness me. Got to be careful going over this bridge, Logan. Right, well, this is our second mill of the day. Isn't that quite exquisite? And this is at the end of that track that's called the Weir, and this is the fulling mill. Fulling, by the way, is where sheep's wool is cleaned and prepared before being woven into cloth. And so the mill here now is a private residence. Again, the water is so clear, they're lovely swans and the babies growing up. Goodness me, what have we got here over on the left? I've seen a few scarecrows and things floating around. I wonder if there's some sort of competition going on. And this is on the other side of the bridge. Isn't that a quite stunning scene with the sunlight coming through the trees reflecting off the water? So the River Test is 40 miles long. The source is at Ash near Overton, and of course it flows to the estuary in Southampton Water. Oh, these are so beautiful, aren't they? I'd sit and watch these guys for ages. Oh goodness me, I don't know what these two are up to. Oh hello, what have we got down here? The Scarecrow's wedding. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, it really is beautiful around here. That's a good idea. A little dog dip. Now I'm filming at the end of August. It's Bank Holiday Monday tomorrow. The sun is out. It is very early in the morning. It might just be a little bit too chilly to ask Logan to demonstrate the dog dip. Logan? He's more interested in the ducks. You gonna do it? You gonna go in? We'll just finish our little loop at the start. We're coming back into Whitchurch itself, and this is our first church of the walk. Just behind me here, the All Hallows Church. Originally Saxon. It was the original Saxon Whitechurch, which of course is where the town gets its name from. Built of limestone and chalk, but it was rebuilt by the Normans in 1190. North was added in the 15th century, and the tower there was rebuilt in 1716. Although I see there's a stone plaque there that indicates 716. I wonder if there's a 1 missing, or my research is wrong. Anyway, it was largely rebuilt in 1866, and the square Norman tower is capped by a Gothic spire. I think it's got 10 bells. And just to the side of the church is King's Lodge, which was formerly the vicarage, and that's where Charles I once stayed in the original house there, although there's some doubt as to whether it was that house or the one to the north of it, which is known as St Cross House, which was also used as the rectory at one time, because the current house there looks quite modern. And then just panning round, there's a little cricket pitch there, and apparently the cricket club has been going since 1776. Well, I'm just going to have a quick meander through Whitchurch before we head out into the countryside. A few things to look at. This is the King's Arms pub, the original building built in 1575. Apparently during the Civil War, Charles I's troops were billeted here just before the Second Battle of Newbury. It became a pub in 1675, and it had a major refurbishment in 2013, I believe. Well, I've just crossed over the 5 Roads roundabout, and this is the White Hart, built in 1461, the former posting house. Apparently Lord Denning, who was formerly Master of the Rolls, often patronised it. He was born above his father's draper's shop opposite the hotel in 1899. He died in 1999, but he often had lunch in the hotel looking over his old house. I turn round, there's a rather splendid looking town hall. Now, this chap looks a little familiar. Where have I seen you before? And finally, to end our trilogy of pubs in the town, the Red House. Although sadly this one is now closed and looks like it's being redeveloped into residential housing. But there's a sign above the door that indicates that it might be as old as 1600. Oh, I say. Goodness me. Look up the garden. Oh, crumbs, look at that chap up there. Well, finally made our way out of the town. I must admit there's some very dodgy looking characters in there, to say the least. Well, we've crossed the River Test for the second time, and so we're heading out into the countryside. But how about this? Isn't it? It's such an enchanting little river. How about having a garden looking out onto the river? One of the natives saying hello. Yeah, he says, Logan says, yeah, come and have a word with me. I don't think he'd be quite so brave if the river wasn't in the way. Well, this is our third mill of the walk. I'm beginning to lose count. This is the town mill house. It's an 18th century building, although the original was mentioned in the Domesday book. There were once 2 water wheels here. It's been a private house since 1969. And look, there's another one of these dodgy characters here. Blimey, it's even waving at us. Either that or I need another coffee. The sun is out now. It really is quite glorious. And we're just walking along a field. Looks as though it's recently been harvested. But beautiful blue skies, hardly a cloud out there. Really is quite glorious now. Whew. Let's get my breath back. Just come up a little steep bit. A good place to stop for a second or two, just to admire the view. We're about halfway along the path to Freefolk, but I know sometimes views don't always come across that well on the GoPros, but isn't that lovely? The building in front of us, that's another mill. We'll be seeing that on the homeward part, and behind those trees is Whitchurch. But it really is a terrific part of the country. Well, again, some more stunning views for you to have a look at. And this is looking north. In the very far distance, I don't know if you can make out a spire of a church. There's a couple of churches in Freefolk we're going to have a look at, and that's the newest one. And then just panning across, some magnificent old oak trees along that field boundary. And so the weather's perfect. There's a nice little breeze which is keeping us nice and cool. Isn't this the most exquisite little church? Wonderful. It's St Nicholas Church. It's actually mentioned in the Domesday book, but the present building dates from the 13th century, with the interior being remodelled in 1703. But in 1896 a much larger church was built on the other side of the road, the B3400 to the north. So this church was actually made redundant in 1974. It's now vested in the Church Conservation Trust, although it is still consecrated though. But it's not very big. It's a rectangular building, about 36 foot long. Should we have a look inside? Come on, after you. Well, hopefully the door is open. Ta-da! Wow. Oh, isn't this sweet? Okay, I have got a little spotlight. There are some lights, so we'll see what we can see. So On the left hand side here we've got this rather magnificent 15th century wooden rood or screen, and then up here there are a couple of hatchments on the left, and those relate to the Pierce and Portal families, and on the right there's a coat of arms 1701, I think that's William III, and then right up there's one bell in the tower, and then just sweeping around, no organ of course, just a very old piano. I don't know if you can make out, there's some artwork, I think that might be St. Christopher on the side there, and then just, wow, look at this. Now I might just have to step back a bit to get all this in. Now this chap here lying down is none other than Sir Richard Powlett, who died in 1614, and you might be able to make out those are his two daughters, Lucy and Anne, kneeling in black in front, and then just up there there's a helmet and spurs. Those aren't actually the originals, they belong to this chap. I'll put a photograph of some notes up on screen which you can freeze the picture if you want to know more. And then just panning round, obviously this is the altar with cherubs either side holding up the Creed and the Lord's Prayer, and then finally turning round. Hopefully you're going to be able to see this. Again, a terrific painting. A couple of bearded gentlemen, I believe it's Moses and his brother Aaron, and they're holding tablets bearing the 10 Commandments. And then finally this wonderful octagonal Victorian font. But oh, it is so pretty. Interesting that there doesn't seem to be a lectern or a pulpit, but even so, I think this is one of the sweetest little churches I've seen for a long time. Wow, we're just going to cross the River Test just to have a little look on the other side. Oh, it's this time of year, it really is cracking with all the green leaves, and I keep saying how clear this river is. You can see the gravel on the bottom, and then just turning round on the other side of the bridge. And I think we're going to have a little look in greater detail at that weir later on actually, so we'll see that later on in the walk when we come back. Just on the other side of the road, this is the newer church, St Mary the Virgin at Freefolk, built in 1896, built of flint and stone dressing, with the steeple on the south side of the chapel. But we won't go in because it's locked. Well, quite close to the church is what probably is one of the most photographed properties in the area, manor cottages. And these are 18 cottages built in 1939 by the Portal estate as almshouses for workers at the estates at the nearby paper mill. Now it's 600 foot long in total, and it's thought to be the longest continuous thatched building in the UK. What is interesting about it, if you look on the other side, it's only the south side of the roof that's thatched. The north side is actually tiled. Well, now I'm going to start making our way back towards Whitchurch in the west. So we're going to cross the River Test. I've lost count how many times we've done that today. Not complaining, mind you, it really is such a wonderful river. Now, don't look down, Logan. You made it. This is quite a good little dog dip area here as well. Superb place to stop for a little picnic as well. I'm just panning back. I love that bridge with the arches and the in the far distance there. Heading back westwards across some open fields. Now there are some cows ahead, so Logan is now on the lead, and although the footpath goes to the left, we're just gonna, you are allowed to circumnavigate and come off a footpath temporarily to get around cows. So we're going to head down into the valley there and then head back up and get onto the footpath as soon as we can. This is our fourth and final mill of the walk, Weir Mill, I think that's how you pronounce it. There was a Saxon mill here in the 9th and 10th century, and it was rebuilt in 1712. But what's fascinating about this mill is that it produced quality paper for the Bank of England to make banknotes in the early 1700s. Anyway, in the late 18th century it converted to a corn mill. It became a residential house in 1993, I think, and it suffered a major fire in 2018, so a lot of it has been reconstructed. Well, there's quite a magnificent bridge leading up to it as well, with 3 arches. Look at those lovely reflections underneath the arches off the water. That circle in the field, though, I don't know if you can make it out, slightly darker grass. It actually looks like a giant fairy circle because there are definite fungi around its perimeter. What's up there? There you go. You got him? Shall I hold him for you? Oh, difficult. Daddy will get it off for you. There we go. A summer walk wouldn't be complete without a pit stop for blackberries. One more. You can gorge yourself on these. Come on. Thank you. You really must stop doing that, you know. Well folks, we've finished the end of our walk. We thought we'd do the end bit right by the river test, this little weir. We hope you enjoyed the walk. If you did, give us a thumbs up and like, and do make a comment. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so, then hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. We've had a super walk today. The weather's been terrific again. We've seen lots of interesting things, and we've seen the river test a few times. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio.